Hey, what's up? I'm Rashad.
And I'm Kesha.
Hang with the Jones is the podcast on the Upon Further Review,
Number
channel
what?
number 74.
Oh, you remember.
Y'all came back to the pod. I'm very surprised by that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the shares and well wishes. You wanted to talk again.
We was talking about communication, how to communicate like a champion. Oh,
Oh my God.
I knew he's gonna find recording.
For our podcast listeners, Keisha's winning a champion hoodie. So that's a good place to end. You know what I'm saying? See y'all next
I didn't
time.
tell her beforehand because I knew.
Hold on, you planned that?
Yes.
Damn.
So part of communication is disagreeing. Would you agree?
Also, marvelous start. Yes. Communication is disagreeing. Why do you say that?
Because I think a lot of times in relationship, we think that if you don't disagree, you don't communicate. You know what I mean? Or people think that
if you don't agree, you don't communicate.
Yeah, opposite. But people, sometimes people think that disagreeing or confrontation means it's not a healthy relationship, and it's actually not true. Any relationship you have with humans, you're gonna disagree. No one agrees to everything all the time, and it's not about disagreeing. That's the thing. It's how you disagree that makes a difference.
Really?
Yeah. What you think?
I think you should practice what you preach.
Bring it out.
Because you very much like things to be harmonious.
I do. I do.
And let's just say there's an issue. Let's say we got an issue with a kid. And one of these kids, like there could be a difference of philosophy in regards to how we think, which is a very true scenario. And I think a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't agree with that, then therein lies a problem.
To me, it's not necessarily about you agreeing with it, it's how you communicate it. So meaning that how you might not disagree, but the way you say your body, your actions, I read that more than what you said out your mouth. So you saying disagree, but it's kind of like, oh, I see it. And that's what that's what triggers me. That's what take over to the next point. But then some of those things, I'm just like, that is not good common sense, how you would think that that's okay. For instance, I'm more of a helicopter mom. He's more of I don't even know what to call it. It's beyond laid back. What would you call your parenting style?
Free range.
Yeah, there we go. He's a free range. So my child, like just starting I'm driving a little over a year. She's like, can I drive to Africa? Him? Go ahead and do it. Just make sure to call me sometimes. Me, I'm like, okay, let's plan this out because I'm also I could think black and white. So I'm kind of let's plan this out. She never drove that far. Why would you approve for her to go so far? How about we take short trips? So that's why sometimes it could be the differences because sometimes the differences are differences. Like it's like total opposite.
And now that you mentioned that as a scenario, example. Did you think about that when I drove you from home to school from New York?
But okay, when he's saying that, you gotta think about I wasn't a mother. I didn't have this wasn't my child.
No, don't try
and
to...
I was like 17, 18, 19. My mind is not the same as it is today.
That's not what I'm saying. It is.
It is the same. Because you asked me, am I the same? That's pretty much asked me, am I the same person I was at 17, 18? So you can't say that communication is never good to go back in time. I can't change that. But also my mindset was totally different 17, 18, 19 than it is at this age, this age now. But my mindset is totally different.
Okay.
So I did a lot of things 17, 18, 19 that I look back, you look back on it like, oh, that wasn't a good choice. But now that I'm a mature age, I shouldn't have the same thinking and everything. So no.
How can I say this? Communication. I really think that you think that there's like this high level of communication that you have, but when it all boils down to it, you're very susceptible to being non-communicative when the thing really isn't going how you envision in your mind.
I agree. I do not think that. But also I think word communication is two. It means communicate. So it's one giving the message and the other one receiving the message. So it's not always received. My coping skill, my style of learning, when I'm upset, when I'm frustrated, I gotta separate. I need to go in another room. I need to stop. I don't talk because the next thing that come out my mouth, I'm gonna be apologizing for. Rashad is when he's upset. What's happened? What's happened? He wants to keep going, keep going, keep going. I need to, and then he would say stuff out his mouth. It's like, see, that's why you should have took a break. You should have took a temporary pause to think about what you're going to say next. So now you just added fire to the flame. I'm really upset.
When's the last time I did that?
Love doesn't take.
I'm just saying, like,
love doesn't take score.
Nah, look,
I'm not going to take.
no. It feels like I haven't done that in a long time. Like
when's the last time we really had a disagreement?
But still, even when I feel it coming on, like I give you your space. Like
you have gotten better than that. I'll say you have gotten better than that.
I thought we talking about the past.
Because you brought it up. You brought it up.
I didn't. But one thing, you brought this up. I didn't bring this up. But still,
Rashad, he is better. He won't try to communicate, like talk to me. I'm angry now. I need a pause. But what his actions would say is something totally different. We doing all this. It's like, well, you might as well just say what was on your mind. Also, part of communicating is we try not to go to bed angry. Not him, not bro. Unfortunately, I have short-term memory loss. So we might get into something. I'm over it because I literally forgot about it. And I'm talking and he's still holding on to this. What are you upset for? You don't remember? And that's sometimes I really don't remember, especially if it's like more than a day. Like, let it go. Let's talk about it. I'm still holding on to it. Is that true?
Yeah, because I still be mad sometimes.
Right, and that's never a good thing. Biblically, anything to go to bed angry. Ooh. It's never a good thing to go to bed angry. And then with me, with sometimes the privilege of having a short-term memory, I do not remember the conflict. I do not. But that, I think not even just having a short-term memory issue. I think in relationship, that's where you come to problems with, because you might remember something I said 5 years ago or last week, and you bring it up now, and I'm like, I don't remember that. And it's not a fair argument. It's not a fair, it's not a fair platform for us to communicate, because you're like, well, last week you said such and such, which is only gonna make you more angry because I might not remember I even said something last week. So that's another one. Bring it up in the moment. Don't wait. Bring it up in the moment.
Yeah, but if I give you time, you fall asleep, then be like, I'm supposed to just let it go, huh?
No, now come on. Now,
because that's what you just said.
If something happened at 9 o'clock in the morning and you wait until 10 o'clock at night to talk about it, let's be realistic. That's not really fair. The time I go to bed. We've been together long enough. Why bring a discussion up 9, 10 o'clock at night when we know we're not going to be able to finish it? Because I'm already like, I'm dozing already. And you talking about, remember you said what you said this morning? For me, no, I don't. But let's talk about it. But you're not going to get the best. That's another thing. You're not going to get the best of me because you bring up a time where I'm usually going to bed.
Yeah. Even right now, like in this conversation about communication, it's like you have really good reasoning for everything you do.
I do.
So it's like you're not even really hearing what I gotta say because you're just gonna back it up with some sort of,
a fact.
A fact.
Right.
Not the truth of facts, because facts can change.
And facts can be truth.
Facts can be truthful. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, even with this, like I really try my best, especially when it comes to you, to be I think people have this understanding that I don't really be giving anybody else the effort that I give you. And I think that's something that I really hope that you understand from the bottom of your heart. Like the amount of effort that I put into this, it's gargantuan. Like I can't invest this much into anybody else other than like my kids. But even with them, it's like you then them, and it's a clear delineation. But
can we stop and explain that part? The you then them.
Oh, it's wife first. It's spouse first, then kids. Like I love my kids, but it's hard to actually rear these children correctly if you don't love your spouse. That's just how I believe.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
then we do believe on the same thing, that one. And it's not the matter of if we're hungry, oh, we're gonna make sure we eat before our kids eat. No, nothing like that. We're like, but a lot of times in society, we believe that no, the kids come first before the relationship. And if we're the foundation, we're saying we the foundation, we set the foundation. How can we let the foundation be broken and then let the kids go first? It's not going to work because there's no foundation for them to stand on. So we have to be connected. We have to try to have solid foundation. And then here they come so they can have something solid to stand on.
Very true. Question
Yeah.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel when, let's say, like we aren't on the same page with stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to kind of find our way back to a median, or find our back to sort of like middle ground?
How do I feel?
Yeah.
My feelings, it's honestly, it could depend on the topic. It really could depend on the topic. Some things I'm like, okay, no, I'm willing to bend. Some stuff is just a non-negotiable for me. Like some stuff is like this is not the example, but the example, not real life. The one daughter driving to Africa, that's not, it's a non-negotiable for me. But some stuff like, hey, can she go drive such and such, get her nails done? No, I really don't want to. But you feel safe? Okay, go ahead. And then she come back. That was one success. So my feelings are, it depends on the topic. Sometimes it's just like, I don't care. And then sometimes it's like, this is a non-negotiable for me. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Thoughts?
Cool. Oh, no thoughts.
What is your feelings?
My feelings is like, I just be annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it could simply just be something very small. Okay, so you have this thing where it could be something that I think is so insignificant and very small, and then it just blows up into something that I really wasn't anticipating. Even at the oldest years of marriage, some things you just be like, why are we even so upset about this one thing? Like, this can't be the crux of our day that breaks this whole day down. And you'd be like, well, it is, and I don't care. And
I do not say that.
that's what I hear.
I do not say I don't care.
I'm just saying, like you just said, like, yeah, I don't care, or yeah, you may not say it verbally, but you definitely say it. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
so
I
so
can
so
see
those
that.
situations for me is like very, very annoying, and that end up being like very like anxiety inducing,
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to figure out, okay, so how's this gonna go? How's this gonna resolve itself? In those situations, like, how can I say the thing that's going to quell the situation and not add fuel to the fire? You know what I'm saying? So I then have to play the role of being very cautious and smart about my words, which is which can be very exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I feel.
But I you know what, we have to be cautious about words. You I'm really healthy boundaries. You can't talk to me anyway. So you have to be cautious by, because that's what the make it or break it is, the words you choose. Honestly, I am. I am. You have to be cautious. And I do try to be cautious with my words as well. Some of the words that's in my head, I'm like, can't say that, subtract that. No, don't, no. Okay, that's why I need to breathe. I'm still not there yet. You have to. You have to. I don't think there's no other way around it. But do you think that's a bad thing or a good thing or just a thing?
It's just a thing
Mm-hmm.
to me. I don't think it's any just like binary, conclusion. It's just kind of, I gotta say this. It's just what it needs to be.
I think it's a good thing because hearing so many other stories of whatever, no, couples getting disagreement and things coming out their mouths, and you can't, I don't care how many apologies you send, how many gifts you get, you never can take back their word. So it's a good thing to think first. Think, we like, no, we tell our children, think before you say it. I think it's a good thing. Think before you say it, because some things I don't care what you did. It's a lie, time heals all thing. I don't care how much time has passed. Sometimes you still can remember those things that hurt your feelings. Or you feel like, like you said something outlandish and they come back like, well, I was just saying, no, there was no, I was just saying that because I was upset. Mm-mm. And then if you do that when you're upset, what else would you do when you're upset? And that's when you kind of have that line of feeling, that's when you break down that line of feeling secure in your relationship. Because we can be good as long as one of us don't get upset, which is impossible. We're humans, we're going to get upset. And then that like you said, that mistrust come because, and then I could see that it stops communication. We talk about disagreement because if I'm afraid or you're afraid that if you communicate something, it's going to explode, what you going to tend not to do? Say anything.
Yeah,
until it explodes.
And that's kind of how I fall into certain situations sometimes, because like sometimes like I know like this isn't gonna yield any sort of good fruit. So why am I even having this conversation? Sometimes a lot of the time the conversation actually needs to be had, but I just will live in fear of retribution. So I don't want to sit here and have this conversation and really take the time to craft and eloquate the words that need to come out so my message doesn't get muddled in the delivery of it. So I'm like, man, forget it, y'all. Like, and I just, and some stuff like I would just, legit just live with, because I know you and certain other females I've been in contact with and talked to over the years will have a way of saying the thing, like you say your point and then take your point and then kind of twist it to a way where it's flipped back, like that's not what I said, or like you're taking this to a place where I'm not really trying to go, and then the point is gone. So sometimes you'd be like, well, why am I even saying anything?
But see, but then it still comes out, and that's another part of communication. Because if you're not telling everything or not telling, one, there's no transparency, and then two, it still comes out it still comes out in some kind of way. So next time something happened, you're going to bring that into it, which is not fair because I never knew that exists, or it's going to cause you to explode quicker, or just kind of the buildup. So it's kind of like you're holding yourself and us hostage if you don't kind of talk about it and say what's going on. But also, I'm an advocate. And anyone knows me. Healthy boundaries. You cannot talk to me any kind of way and put it as I just need to express myself. Because as much as I have emotions too, I think about what I'm gonna say. But if if you had a little
And
bubble,
just as a good caveat, like I don't yell or cuss out Kesha, so just to
oh no,
because it
no.
kind of sounds like that's what I do. Why are you saying that?
No, that's communication, healthy bound. There's certain things that just no. There's no yelling and screaming, and there's no hitting. Nothing like that.
Answer me, I see so.
Yeah, you better hug yourself if you think. So no, absolutely not. But disagreement is a good thing. And then sometimes with Rashad, like when he actually tells me what he's thinking or what he's feeling, I get it, as opposed to the other ways he put, like he'll say something I'm like, what? And then when he tells me what he's feeling, I'm like, you should just let what my feelings was hurt because of such and such, or I was thinking as opposed to such and such, as opposed to, oh man, I don't know. How did you expect me to respond? Especially, I'm real sensitive to, like, I don't want to say energy.
Central. I don't know how you want
What's
to
the
say
other word? What you say? Energy. That's the only word. I'm real sensitive to people body language and their energy and stuff. And part of me going to school, you study people body cues and triggers. You study their body language. So especially my spouse, I really can pick that up. So when he's not telling me, I can feel it, and that annoys me because I'm like, so just say what it is. Nah, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, no, it's not. I can feel it. I can feel it. And that's another thing kind of goes into never assume. Because sometimes we go, you should have known that. So I should have assumed. Tell me.
yeah, we don't really I probably that either.
But
That we don't really be out here assuming a whole lot.
I don't assume I know how he feel. He doesn't assume how I know how he feel. Tell me how you feel. Because that's what you think. That could be an error too, assuming.
Yeah, not
Well,
even.
I assume that you knew.
Yeah, not even that, but it also leads to just the like you be living off assumptions. You know what I'm saying? You know what happens, you assume. So eventually, like how you really feel is gonna come up, or you're just gonna start telling other people how you really feel, which is a breakdown in communication in and of itself.
And open up another door. Yeah. So even though I can see him physically mad, I would say, I feel like you're upset with me. Can you tell me what's going on? Is that true? Instead of, why are you mad at me? I know you're mad. Because sometimes it could be like something happened at work and that's the reason you're upset. And no, we can have a conversation like, no, I'm not upset. Such and such happened, or same thing. He asked me, no, are you upset? Is something going on? And it might be like, yeah, I'm upset, not with you, but someone cut me off today, and I was that just kind of took my day over. Like one's just having a bad day, and then sometimes like, yeah, you didn't see that you walked over that piece of such and such, or you didn't see, So we try really hard to not assume. It's better just to ask the person, how do they feel? What's going on? Um, and we try to ask when at appropriate time, not 9 o'clock at night when I'm going to sleep. But I think like you know what I mean? Like ask if I see how you acting, ask right there and then. Not wait until a time where you can't bring it up or bring it up around people. That's another
Yeah,
communication.
yeah, that's something that we don't do.
Don't talk about it in front of people. Why? Because then they get their input on it, and that can heighten the situation. And then also, when the couple is done with the situation, they're not. They're not done with it. They're gonna remember the time he told you this. And then it's good. It makes it harder to move forward. So we try. No, don't be wrong. I think you should have friends that you can kind of have that backup and talk to, and kind of communicate with. One like my female friends. I'm sure he's his guy friend. My female friends. We talk female, we talk woman. So they understand things differently. However, we're in it together. We're not going to bring that up. If something happened, it's like, okay, we're gonna let it go. One, that makes the table feel uncomfortable. You ever been that someone like really get in, not like a little disagreement, like they really get into it. You like, oh gosh, we out in public, and they were into it. And then you're trying not to get into it, but especially I had when people like, what do you think, Kesha? You like, oh crap. Oh man, I got to avoid this. So yeah, try communication. Don't bring up your argument around people, and I'm saying especially family members. I think family members tend to hold. I think sometimes friends will let it go, but family members are like, what you think?
Yeah, because they think they so they have
Like this one?
like went down. Yeah, so they have a particular claim to you that you don't really understand, especially until you actually leave home. And
Yeah.
then like stuff starts to change, like, oh, like so I know you this way. And then you really be somebody like you've changed because you've had different experiences. So now instead of them looking at you this way, they're still looking at you like you 10 or
Yeah.
you 12, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And then you have to then kind of break it down and let them know, like, look, yo, this is what it is now. This is where I'm at. And unfortunately, when I was like 2021, I didn't really have the words to be sitting here and really saying all these things. So it was a much more difficult journey to have to explain to them like what I do, who I am now, you know what I'm saying, what I'm doing now. So that was that was a hard time.
And I say also when you do share, because everyone needs someone to talk to. When you do share, you have to be careful who you share to. So I'm not opposed for necessarily like don't tell anyone. Because like I said, people need a support system. However, you need to know which group of friends you can talk to. If I'm talking about something in my relationship, I'm gonna talk with my friends that are married. I'm gonna talk because they understand the struggle. They understand it. I'm not gonna talk with my friends who are single. They might not have the same experience. Also, I can have a married couple, but I'm not gonna talk to someone who like they're violent towards each other. They're like hit them in the head or let her. Those are not saying I have any of those friends. Just use any of those example. But you gotta be careful who you talk to because it really can impact you. You know,
Definitely, because depending on who your influences are, if you're okay, so this is something that I really try not to do or false or be susceptible to, and that's just confirmation bias. Just because somebody's telling you the thing that you think is correct, and they're telling you the thing, and you're like, oh, I've been waiting to hear that.
Mhm.
That's kind of like the danger of, like you said, like talking to your family about stuff in your relationship, because since they want to see the best of you, of course they do. That's that. Hopefully that's your people. They're gonna confirm a lot of your biases because y'all speak the same language. You
It's
know what I'm
by their
saying?
biases.
Yeah, because
That's where you got it from.
yeah, like
Right.
yeah, like you like yeah. Oh, I feel you. Like yes,
Mhm.
we feel each other. Like no, but of course they do because y'all, like you said, y'all share the same experiences, same house, same value system. So you have to be very, very careful about that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like communication is, it can be really hard.
I was I was
Like
thinking saying it could be really hard and really easy.
yeah, yeah. The thing that I know that I try to do, I don't do a great job of it all the time, is to really allow, not even use anybody, allow them to communicate. You know what I'm saying? And not even just communicate with the emphasis of me having a response, but for me actually just listening to the person so I can then
Yeah.
digest what they said, so I can either a move forward or give you a response that is commiserate to what you said, or just be able to just remain silent, keep it moving. Like I really try to listen and not listen to respond.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Or like you said, hearing someone but not listening. You like I hear you talking, but in my head I'm already putting together my response.
Yeah.
Like, well, he said such and such. Well, I know on November 3rd, he said, that we already kind of get that. And then it's looking at like, what is the point? Well, if we say we're married and we have goals that we try to accomplish together and separate as being individuals, what is the point of tearing each other down? If I'm tearing him down, vice versa, how do we get to our goal?
Pretty much. There's because there it can easily like devolve into this competition of
Who hurt who the worst?
yeah, like we be out
And
here playing.
what's the temperature? Like, how do you know who someone hurt who worse?
Yeah,
There
there's no
isn't.
way to
There's no measurements.
quantify
Mm-mm.
hurt, you know.
It's not. You know how like with medical, if you got a fever 103 and I got a fever 104, we can say, oh, her fever is higher. But with your feelings, there's no, if he said his feelings hurt and mine's feeling hurt, we can't say that one is greater. There is no measurements.
I just gotta really accept it.
It's yeah. And
He,
not like your feelings shouldn't be hurt because
even if you think it's stupid, you know what I'm saying? Like your feelings hurt because of what? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, all right, okay. If that's how you feel.
right. And that's the thing too in relation. You understand the communication. You two, even though you're married, came from different backgrounds, different ways you learn, different family upbringing. To bring that together is hard. And it doesn't mean that you all speak the same language because you know what I mean? We can be two because our upbringings are different. We don't see things always the same. And there are some things like honestly, just being black, we can give each other eye like, yeah, you see that, right?
Not even that, but I really feel like, especially like early on, there has to be decent amount of understanding that the person, and this was like really me early on, And to be honest, I don't even know if it's really me or it's just because you are the way you are. Always the person messing up. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm the person messing up, saying a thing, or whatever, like that, if you truly want to be in a relationship with this person, you're gonna have to be able to accept that they're gonna mess up. And
That's a good
you
one.
may have a conversation about the thing,
That's a good
and they
one,
may
Sean.
mess up again. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it came to like for me and my just ongoing life struggle is just sheer attitude. So you already know going in, you know, like Rashad, attitude may not be the best every day, but you know, it's not like I'm just by the wayside, not caring about it. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
very cognizant of it. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time in my grown age, I'm manage myself to control it. But early on, it just wasn't like that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So you need to make sure that you really want to be in this thing, and two, this is something that you're gonna be able to deal with over the long term. Not just
That's a
with
good
especially
thing.
with communication, because there's gonna be some blind spots and
Mm-hmm.
some definitive character flaws that you're gonna have to work around, albeit through talking it out or having enough love for this person or care for them to know that that is always going to be there. Like some things just really don't change. They
Mm-hmm.
just grow old.
Like love cover a multitude. And
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
honestly, when in the beginning, we identify our boundaries. Like for me, yelling, you cannot yell at me. Conversation is over. We took this to a whole nother level. It's a trigger. So certain things we kind of identify like this is my bottom line. Um, I'm willing to hang in it, but when you do this, you change the game for me. Of course, any type of abuse, no, that's enough. So we had that conversation early on, like, look,
Yeah.
this is my expectations.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit here yelling at me. You're not going to call me outside what my mother called me. Um, and you're not going to intimidate me either. And then it goes both ways. It goes both ways. So we had to have it. It's okay to have, and I think sometimes when we get in a relationship, we forget that we can have boundaries within a relationship. That it has to be sometimes all or nothing because we're married.
I feel like some people don't even understand that you have to communicate your boundaries.
Mm-hmm. And
I
they change.
was about to say that too.
Oh, we on it.
And sometimes like those boundaries definitely they
Mm-hmm.
shift and move.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to allow your spouse that amount of freedom and liberty
Yeah.
to actually do that.
Because some things I didn't know
Which
was an issue until it happened. It was like, oh,
yeah,
that
or like
don't do that. And once again, it was nothing violent. It might have been something as walking away in the middle of a conversation. That took me, stuff like that. So nothing violent, but it was like we in
yeah,
the middle of a
no,
conversation
I feel you.
and you
It's
walk away in the middle of a sentence, or I'm bust down crying, oh, and you like, I see, like what? That's another no. But some things like that I might not have known, or you might not have known that was an issue until it was done. So what we do now? Okay, I hear you. I need a break right now. Give me a moment. I'm gonna come back to it, but I need a break right now. So hopefully one of us won't feel like abandoned, like we just kind of disregard each other's feelings.
yeah. And I'll be honest, like we failing this all the time, man.
Yeah.
Like
Communication
it's
is, yeah.
this
Sometimes we hit it right on the nail. Sometimes we don't even get to the wall. Like the nail is
nah,
like over
yo,
there.
be hammering your thumb,
Mm-hmm. But I think that's what keeps us is the goal, still the main goal at task.
which is
For us, we want to remain married. We do want to be the example for their children. So when someone said was a healthy couple, despite all the, a healthy, rounded couple, despite all that, we might be able to be the one for our children.
yeah. I would hate for them to be like, oh, somebody else.
Yeah. And you could be a healthy couple and still have all this issue. I think when okay, if there's any abuse, that's not healthy. Point blank. Any abuse is healthy. I don't care, emotional,
Unhealthy.
physical, unhealthy, excuse me. Emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, any type of abuse. I'm one, abuse is abuse. I don't care what category it is. But you also, as humans, since none of us are perfect, we could have a perfect relationship, quote unquote, and still have all these issues going on in your relationship.
Very true. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, communication is like you said is very it's very easy, but it's really difficult to not even to master, just to kind of maintain a status quo. Um, because like we've been married like 20 years, and the differences are just stark.
Hmm.
And even like the things that we will put up with and not put up with, like those things change as well.
Hmm.
And just where you are in life will start to dictate those things,
Yeah.
and what you're doing at the time, and just life events in general. So
Hmm.
it's
Understand Keisha and Rashad at 17, 18, 19. That's why we asked the question about I'm not the same person. My hope and your mind develop cognitive development skills kicks in the age of 25. So I shouldn't have the same thoughts I had before I had my those my cognitive developmental skills kicked in.
yeah.
And same thing, but what that mean too, that mean also we might have changed. And are we going to address the change? Or are we going to kind of cup each other to change? Or it's like, oh, this is just too much of a change. It depends on your goals. It depends.
Because you are change averse.
What you mean?
You do not like no
I
change.
don't. I don't. But this is the thing too. I have a trouble with spontaneous change. But if you're telling me, if you communicate with me, it's not like one day I wake up and like, who's this person? Talk, communicating. No, yesterday I like such and such. Today I don't really feel that today. Talk to me. Don't assume that I know. How would I know? Especially if we've been doing something consistent. And this is just overall. If we've been doing something consistent for 5, 10, 15 years, and then year 19, you're like, oh, that don't work for me. How would I know that? It's been consistent for 5, 10, 15 years. You know? And then we try to when we reframe when you say something, when I say something, to reframe it. So what I hear you saying is that you would like for me to do such and such, as opposed and put no I statements, more I statements. What I hear from you, is that correct? As opposed, what you said, did you just say, you know how you can go there? And sometimes we can nail that on the head. Like I said, sometimes we it's like really perfect, sometimes not. Which I think all of it is okay as long as it doesn't get blown up. And also, I think it's okay for your children to see it. Don't get me wrong. Now, if you having deep down miscommunication, some things the children should know about, but something the children need to see how you handle miscommunication. Because guess what? They're going to be in a relationship, whether it's friendship, husband and wife, whatever. They're going to be some type of relationship, and they need to know that it's okay to miscommunicate and how to get back on track.
True. Seems like a good place to stop.
I agree with you. You on the ball? We on the ball? On the ball.
All right. Yeah, we'll be back whenever Keisha wants to talk again. And
Communicate like a champion.
me and OG friend of Fantone will be back Wednesday, Mandalorian, episode 7 of season 3, 23, chapter 23. Anyway,
You don't know.
I do know. I do know. It's 8 episode seasons. Anyway, that's it for today. Make sure you guys join. Just hit 1,000 on TikTok. I know you didn't know because you don't be on TikTok. But yeah, just hit 1,000 on TikTok. Appreciate you guys. You ain't be on nothing, yo.
I don't.
You can't even be on Facebook right now. But that's another story. I hope you guys have a great week. We will see you when we see you.
Fight like a champion.